Hey, we're actually recording 2 episodes of Dumb and Dumbest today. I don't actually know when this will go up, though. Probably tomorrow or some bullshit.
Woohoo.
Anyway, what we wanted to talk about real fast, something crucial that a lot of y'all need help with, a lot of y'all ask us about, and that Curtis happens to be a master of. Curtis, say hello.
I say hello.
And we're talking about, of course, Twitter.
Which apparently I'm a master at, according to Matt, but hey.
You've built your company on Twitter, haven't you?
Well, it was one of the ways I did when I first started out. Yeah, it was the private social media thing that I used to get it going for sure.
There you go. So that makes you some sort of Twitter master. Most people can't monetize their Twitters.
Well, the thing with here you want to know how I did it through Twitter though?
Yes,
It was basically it's kind of hard to even say I monetized it. I mean, I guess you can say I did because I built dewarpr with it, but basically what I did is I read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. All hail Gary V, as you like to say.
Hail Gary V.
Back in 2013 approximately, or 2014, I can't remember the exact year, but anyways.
2013, because I was 16, 17 when we first
But I was with the Black Birch at that time.
Okay.
I didn't read Crush It till about a year after I'd been with the Black Birch.
Okay.
And I heard about Gary V through Grant Cardone's podcast, and he said, read Gary Vaynerchuk because he talks all about how to use Twitter. And I was like, okay, well, I'll read the book because this sounds kind of interesting the way he put it, right?
Wait, just for context, can you tell people what your full-time job was before you started doing metal PR?
The one you're thinking of was even before that.
Okay.
At the time I was doing that, I was doing sales for a hockey team.
Okay.
Yeah. You're thinking about the fax machine job, which was like a year and a half before that.
Okay. I would like to point out that Curtis is a little bit of a Canadian stereotype.
I am.
Anyway, carrying on.
Okay, so anyways, so I see this thing. It says read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. So I go get it, and basically it was kind of a dated book by that time because I think he wrote it in like 2010 or something like that. And he basically talks in there about how he built up his wine library brand by just talking to people, right? So he basically used Twitter to its maximum potential, apparently between like 2008 or 9 or whatever to 2012. And he gives all these tips on how to use Twitter. Some of them not so great. Like he gives, one of his suggestions is that you should DM absolutely everybody that follows you, which is a little bit creepy. Might have worked back in 2009, 2008, but you pretty much looks retarded if you do that now. But anyways, I used a lot of his tips to just start talking to people on Twitter, and as a result, started getting more clients as a result of that. So like, for example, All Father was a client that we got. Pretty sure we got King is Blind through there. There was a whole whack load right at the very beginning. So that's my Twitter beginnings in a nutshell.
Well, one of the important things I think to realize about Twitter is like looking at our dear friend Christina from TriDroid.
Yeah.
Right.
Who I taught Twitter to.
Because what she did was she kind of used Twitter to vertically hack the music industry.
Yeah, like it was to get contacts. So she was commenting on people's posts, and she was doing that quite regularly. She's resumed again, but she's basically just doing what I did, which is talking to people.
Yeah, and that's
the exact same thing. And that's, I mean, I believe I'm the one that told her to do that because she too had thought at one point that Twitter was stupid. And she's going to probably say that I'm wrong and she wanted to do it anyways. But whatever, Christine, I know I taught you. Just like I did with Matt.
But so here's the thing, I think, is that for me, I was able to build my business up on Facebook and through personal interaction because I don't have kids.
True. Well, I kind of did the same thing. I mean, it wasn't just total Twitter, but I mean, I didn't have a dewarpr Facebook page until December of 2014, but I'd been on Twitter for about a year and a half.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Here's the really key thing, is that it seemed, I don't know why, but it seemed that people started to take me more seriously once I had a Facebook page.
Well, that's because Facebook has so much more versatility than Instagram or any of the other big platforms. Yeah. You know, and you can so much more easily stock all your shit up there, and because it's an older demographic,
Yeah,
that has a big impact on it too, right?
I agree.
Because the people with money tend to check it out. That's starting to shift. Instagram is starting to really, really have its day in the sun,
Yeah,
and you literally cannot afford just to skip out on Instagram anymore.
I agree.
But
100%.
regardless, Facebook has the most versatility. Facebook can stock the most stuff in sort of a pro-looking way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
But
that's pretty essential.
it is, I agree. But here's the thing with Twitter that I found is that you can get into more direct conversations a
Oh
lot
yeah.
easier and in real time when you got Twitter. Like yesterday, like I mentioned on the other podcast, doing that poll for her despair. I mean, I got live results on a poll that people ask me about all the time about contacting journalists, right?
Yeah.
And I had instant feedback, and I could go back and forth, and the band could, and now they're known by more people as a result, right?
Yeah, of course. If you are committed to staying to Facebook, I would point out that you can get fairly similar results with Facebook groups.
If you do it in a group setting, I agree. Yeah.
And if you're cool within that group. Like
Yeah,
that's
it
a huge
depends on
part
what
of it.
you're doing. Like if you're going into the metal group and posting Metallica memes every fucking 2 seconds, like 99% of the other idiots out there, you're gonna get nowhere, right? We're putting those stupid fucking devil horns and nuclear blast fucking memes and shit. I hate those.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you have to use the Facebook groups that are actually effective, and I think that's what scares a lot of people off Facebook groups. In my experience, is
Yeah,
that they see a lot of the shitty, dumb Facebook groups that are essentially useless because it's like one dude in Peru posting memes he thinks are funny, and
yeah.
that's not really contributing to the scene as a whole.
No, I mean they do serve their purpose. Like if you post, like I always post shit into other groups. Like
Sure.
I am one of those people. Like I do spam band tracks and groups, and the reason why I do that is because it's effective. And I only do that in the groups where there's just stupidities, like Matt was talking about with stupid memes and shit. Because people do check the song out when you do that. But Wave Riders, which you run or help run, and the Prophecy Group Third Year, both the ones you run are fucking great just for making connection.
Yeah, that's really all that matters.
And I can't say it properly.
Dorkscography.
Yeah, I
So
can't say it. That
Dorkscography,
too is
for
great.
those who are uninitiated, is basically a page I started so I could talk about Kiss with 50-year-old men.
Yep.
Um,
40.
and I like how you had to remind the world that you're only 40, Curtis.
Well, I had to. I'm not 50
But
yet.
what we do on Dorkscography is we do discography deep dives, right? So we'll look deep into the discography of a band and just listen to every record. So right now we're listening to Manila Road, and there's like 18 albums, and it's a fucking odyssey. But it's kind of
Yeah.
cool, because you spend time with albums you don't normally spend time with, and you get to talk to your friends about them.
And I get to post when are we listening to Striper every 2 seconds?
Oh my God, you can only when we start talking about how their singer looks like Ted Cruz.
Well, if you can get me an interview with Michael Sweet on the blog, I'll do that. 100%.
Okay.
I'll do it.
I feel like interviewing Michael Sweet is going to be a lot easier than you think it is.
I don't know because you know what? I've had 2 people try to set me up with interviews with Michael Sweet, and each time they fell through.
Okay, this is a serious question that I'm sure all of our listeners are wondering.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Are you like actually that big into Striper?
Well, put it this way: Striper was the first metal band I actually ever really listened to. First.
Fair enough.
100%. So got a soft spot for him if you catch my drift. First
Yeah.
metal album I actually heard in full was "To Hell with the Devil" by Striper.
That's a good album.
It is a good album, and technically the first metal song I heard, if you want to call them metal, was a Bon Jovi song, but first album was "To Hell with the Devil."
Right. So circling back to Twitter.
Yes.
In your estimation, Curtis,
Yes.
what do you think bands can be doing to have A, an effective Twitter presence, and B, kind of vertically hack their way into the music industry?
Okay, so this is my version of how to win with social media 101. I'm going to talk in terms of Twitter, but this can be applied to pretty much anything. Is it like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm like a social media master or anything, but I mean, I did build up dewarpr through it. I do get pretty good interaction with it. You know, am I a master? No, but I do not bad with it. So all you got to do with any platform that you have is you have to talk to people, and you have to do it frequently. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Frequency is always key. Like, you have to be posting more than 10 times a day on pretty much every freaking platform you got. You have to. Otherwise, I mean, with all the algorithms out there right now, no one's going to see you otherwise. If you post once a day, most people aren't going to see it. You have to be doing that a lot, and you have to be interacting, keyword interacting a lot, not just commenting on people's posts with stupid emojis and shit and liking random people who you'll never follow again, like a lot of people do on Instagram. You have to actually be talking to people, have to be partaking, and you have to be posting frequently. If you don't have the time for it, you're not going to win at social media, because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. Probably, I'd say about 60% of my day is posting on social media, but I'm doing work when I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually trying to find out stuff. Like, I'm putting stuff about my bands out there, but I'm also talking to people. And the reason why I'm talking to people is, I mean, I like talking to people, but it's also to keep my name out there, because for the dewarpr brand, and so that way people know to think of me when they look at their holics of who to review. You know what I mean? So they've been talking to me, they look at their holics. I've just been talking to Curtis. Let's see what Curtis has got. I'll review that. You know what I mean? It's not, I'm not doing it as a total, like, as a plot, but I mean, it works out that way, where the more you post, like you said the other day, the more you post, the more money you make. And it's true, but it's not just money. You get other forms of income in the form of people talking to you. You get people posting about you, and you get your bands being posted about. Like, those are all forms of income as well. It's not just monetary income that you get from social media. You know what I mean? And you get connections, and you get all, like, Christine's gotten tons of connections as a result of doing more on Twitter. You've gotten tons through Facebook, but I mean, it's frequency of posting, and it's actually interacting with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that the interacting piece is something a lot of people don't want to do, because a lot of people will be like, oh, I can just post the same bullshit a million times.
But you have to actually be interested and actually take an interest. Like, I mean, some days I'll go on Twitter, and I mean, I hate politics. I just fucking hate it. And like, there's like 20 people all posting about Donald Trump taking a shit that day, or, you know, just something stupid, right? Something about North Korea and Trump being an idiot today. Like, I'm not interested in hearing that, but you have to kind of sift through that bullshit and find people that are talking about something interesting, and then respond back and get into a conversation. Like, I mean, going on Twitter can be awfully depressing if you just look at the stupid negativity. But if you ignore that and you just mute the people that are being idiots, it's a great tool.
Yeah.
Same with Facebook.
Yeah. And I think that you do need to curate what you see. But
Yeah.
that also, if you curate what you see, you also are getting a better, the cross section is going to be a lot more relevant to the people you're trying to sell to.
I agree. Well, here's the thing that I've noticed, and I mean, well, at least it appears to me, is that most people really don't give a shit about politics. There's a small segment of people that do, that are extremely vocal about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, everyone else doesn't really care. So if you just ignore the political shit and you just talk about entertainment or whatever the heck it is that you want to talk about, and you just ignore all the noise, you can do really well on social media and make a lot of great connections.
Yeah. But there is a lot of noise.
Oh, tell me, hey, today rather, went on Twitter. I'm not joking to you. It was like, first 20 tweets I see, they're all about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump's an asshole. Next thing's something about Brexit. I'm like, fuck, I don't care. I was about ready to turn it off, and I was like, no, I have to do it. Persisted through, and I just started talking to some people, and then finally started to ignore the bullshit, right? So
yeah. So I think those are important things. And because the other thing I think you've talked to me about for bands is just straight up interacting with journalists.
Well, 100%, but it depends on how they do it. Like I mentioned earlier, when we did the other podcast about the poll that I did with Her Despair, surprisingly, 50% of all journalists do not mind, or just a little bit under 50%, I think it was 46%, do not mind being talked to on Twitter by a band. It depends on how you approach them. If you just tweet at them your link or something, or just say, "Hey man, can you review me?" Most people don't like that. But if you interact with them first, the common thread seems to be that they'll eventually check you out, especially if you keep a link to your music or Bandcamp in your bio. That's key. Like, have a link for where people can grab your shit and put who you are, what band you're from, in your little bio on Twitter. And if you keep contacting the journalists and you're just being cool with them and you're just talking to them, they're going to check you out. Or if the appropriate time comes up where you can say, "Hey, I'm looking for reviews," do it. But don't just go in there like with, "What can I get from you?" You have to look at what you can do for the other person. Matt talks about this a lot, and he does this a lot. He gives a lot before he asks most of the time. So,
And also, it's not like these people aren't already there. Like, and it's not like these people are hard to find, to get in touch with. Like,
not at all.
I've seen a lot of people who are like, "Oh, well, I don't know who to talk to," and it's like, well, do some fucking research, read an article. You know
Well,
what I
yeah,
mean?
well, 99% of, like, for example, Toilet of Hell, almost everybody that writes for Toilet of Hell is sitting on Twitter. And they're really easy to approach, like super fucking easy. Vince Neilstein of Ben from Metal Sucks on Twitter, super easy to approach, talk to. They'll talk back to you, you know what I mean? Same with
Yeah,
Rob, I can't remember how.
Paspani.
Yeah, he's also on there too. He's not quite as on there as much, but he is pretty approachable, right? So all these people, all the Metal Hammer editors, they're all there, easily approachable, you know. So
Yeah, like literally, if you find out, like, I really love that Brother May have some loops meme with the cat.
yeah.
Like, I think that's the greatest meme to ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who is active enough on the internet to be a writer on a major blog has a favorite meme.
Yep.
Like, that's just a fact.
And if you like that meme, there's a certain person at Decibel who's also active on Twitter that's friends with Matt and me that really likes that meme, just so you know.
Oh, I didn't realize they were active on Twitter. Huh.
He's fairly active. He tweets to me. He doesn't really tweet to many other people, but he does tweet to me.
Regardless, yeah, like if you just figure out like what meme is relevant, like literally that's all it takes. Like, if you figure out like, oh, fucking so and so from Metal Hammer really likes possum memes, and you just share good possum memes and tag them and say like, "Yo, at Lucy, I think you'd appreciate this." Like, Lucy will write about you. There isn't a Lucy at Metal Hammer. I just was pulling that name out of my ass. But like,
there used to be a Lucy, but I don't think there is anymore.
I know. I love her very much. But did you notice how I got out around saying I love Lucy?
I did. Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, like if you're just, it's the same with Facebook groups though. Like, if people see you posting and like being kind of just a cool guy, they're going to eventually click over to your account and be like, "Who is this motherfucker?" I do that all the time. Literally, how I find out about like 80% of the stoner rock I find out about is they were active in Wave Riders or another group, or seem nice on Facebook. So I clicked over to see like, who is this person? There was, and there was nothing in my head that was like, maybe I'll sign this band. It was literally just like, I wonder who this guy is.
Exactly, and then you find out and you click over. But can I give you an example on something too for Twitter, for bands that have gotten active on Twitter and kind of got more press as a result?
Sure.
Okay, well, my favorite one, because I've repped them, is Allfather. Totally their campaign has been so easy because everybody knows who they are on Twitter, all the journalists. Other people that I know that have done really well as a result of connecting on Twitter are the Glorious Rebellion, which is another band I used to rep. They broke up. But Billy from them, he was talking to everybody all the time. And he was never saying, "Check out my band," but he kept a link to the band in his bio, and people were reviewing as a result. We got major, major press with them because of that. And these guys were like unknown. Another band guy that does a lot of Twitter interaction is Paul from Twilight Fauna. I mean, he's connected with tons and tons of people as a result of his Twitter interaction. I met him through there. I mean, I think he's basically just got known due to his Twitter interactions. You know what I mean? Like, he got on Noisy as a result. And then another guy is the guy from Slaves BC. I forget his name off the top of my head. But he as well, he's very interactive on Twitter, and he basically got known as a result of there too. Oh, and one more is Megan from Couch Slut. I mean, a lot of people started checking out their music after she got super interactive on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right? So those are just some examples I wanted to give people that I know of that have successfully used Twitter to get people to check out their music in a cool way without being like spamming people with links, you know?
Yeah. Something cool about Megan is she actually invited me to a party at her house like the day I moved to New York when I was 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know her very well. I know her a little bit on Twitter, but I mean, from what I've observed, is she just talks to everybody.
Yeah, she's a treasure.
Yeah.
We used to hang out at the same bar that I think got closed, unfortunately.
Well, study her account if you guys want to know the way to interact on Twitter. I'm assuming she's not a private account anymore, but her and Paul, Slaves BC, and who's the other person I said? Allfather and Glorious Rebellion, all accounts of people that have connected with journalists on Twitter. They've done a great job.
Connected on a deep personal level.
Yeah, they're on there all the time. All those people are on there all the time, and they're not sitting there trying to sell their shit. I mean, they do, but they're not just buy my stuff, 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 buy my stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that doesn't get you anywhere.
Sometimes it does, depending, but I mean, not very rare.
I try not to encourage those behaviors.
Well, you need to say buy my. Don't get me wrong. You do need to say buy my stuff occasionally. You do, but you don't want to be berating people and hitting them over the head with buy my stuff 24/7. I mean, you do have to be upfront about what you want. Like, I mean, if I'm talking to someone about doing PR with them, I'm going to tell them, okay, you have to pay X amount of dollars, and it's for this amount of time. I'll be right up front with them about it, so that way they're not thinking I'm giving them something for free, and then it's just like a, hey pal, I'm going to do you a favor type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and it's a very tricky thing to shift over into sales mode.
I don't have a problem with it, but a lot of people seem to, yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just a blunt Canadian, I guess. I don't know.
Goddamn Canadians.
Mm-hmm. We're
So,
supposed to be nice.
Curtis, do you have any final takeaways for this particular episode of Dumb and Dumbest?
Get on Twitter. Matt Bacon needs to be more on Twitter. I've added you at about 100 times, and you're ignoring all my ats.
Yeah, but who has 4 times as many Instagram followers?
Well, yeah, but you're basically doing on Instagram what I'm doing on Twitter, right? So,
yeah, well, because also, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty.
Well, here's the other thing though, is I also answer all my messages on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Just wink, wink.
Constantly.
So, so every time I respond to a Tai Lopez tweet with @MattBacon, I'd like to get at least some sort of a response here. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry that you're needy.
Last week, I actually did that. I scrolled through a whole bunch of Tai Lopez and all these internet marketer tweets. This is Matt Bacon, waiting for you to finally respond. You just fucking ignored me the whole time. I was so upset with you.
Good. Something I'd like to share real fast in terms of tagging people, that actually works and will get eyeballs.
Well, it depends. Well, I was going to share. You have to be careful, but go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Curtis recommended that I do a video about this Mastodon fuck up.
Yeah.
And basically Mastodon ended up losing a ton of money on an Australian tour, and and it was stupid. And so I put up a video. I don't think I even tagged the band. I think I just put like #Mastodon, #Mastodon rocks. Yeah,
it was just a hashtag with Mastodon that I recall.
Yeah. And then fucking the guy showed up in the comments.
Yeah.
Like Brand Daler.
Yeah.
And then we had a back and forth. And that video is one of my most viewed videos, up there with like one where I'm smoking a really, really nice cigar and a bunch of cigar enthusiasts got into it.
And that
And
was after Curtis told Matt to do the video and tag him.
with Mastodon, yes.
Yeah.
And the other video that did about as well as it's with a really hot girl. So like,
I wasn't part of that one.
yeah, but point being, if you tag people, they will sometimes reply, and it doesn't don't spam people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cost you anything to put at Mastodon if it's something that's relevant to Mastodon.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is like tagging people in posts also gets other people who are checking that out to see it. So like when I put up pictures, I always try to tag the bands I'm talking about in the picture itself on Instagram, right? Because then it shows up in the tagged pictures of
Good point.
thing. And it's just, if you tag people, again, it doesn't cost you anything. Don't to make sure it's relevant, make sure it's not spam.
Yeah.
But people see that and people want in.
Totally. But like you said, it's got to be relevant, because one pet peeve I have is people on Facebook will a lot of times tag me in shit that I have absolutely nothing to do with, like their new song, some band I don't even know and didn't even realize it's friends with, and it's like me and like 100 other people. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, don't tag people frequently. Or even if it's something you do work with, I'm sure you don't like it when it's like, oh, new single, and then you're tagged for a single that you worked on the premiere of.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends. Like if it was if it's a premiere, I can kind of understand it, just because of the fact, like, 'cause a lot of times you want to give the author credit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Show that you're sharing. I mean, I guess it kind of depends. I mean, I guess you're a person that doesn't like to be tagged in those.
I don't know. Just something to consider.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I mean, there's two ways of looking at that one, just because of the fact that some people do like being tagged, so that way they're getting see that they're getting shared.
Yeah.
That's a toughie. That's a toughie.
Yeah.
That's a toughie.
But
if you're listening to Tai Lopez, just tag Matt Bacon every time you
yes, eventually Tai Lopez is going to notice me.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
What I'm talking about is different. What I'm talking about is there's a lot of bands who do this, where it's like I am frequently the industry friend, right?
Ooh.
So like a band will put up, even if it's a band where I help them out,
yeah,
they'll tag me in every single post, and it's like,
that's stupid.
Unless it's something I was directly involved in, it's cool that we work together, but I don't need to. And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. So only tag Matt on Tai Lopez and Frank Kern posts, and any other motivational speaker that you see. Frank Kern, yeah, and Russell Brunson, all those type of people. He'll be happy if you do that.
Yeah. Before we sign off, one last thing, really funny.
Yeah.
Is as we're bitching about all this back and forth, literally in the middle of this podcast, I got a message that says, this is like a perfect example of what not to do.
Oh, okay.
Ready? I got a message. I'm not going to say the name of the band or who it is, but hey, I know you, not spelled out Y-O-U, but the letter U, don't know me, but I was wondering if you, again, letter U, could check out my band's latest single. If so, LMK, like, let me know what you, again, not the word you spelled out, think, good or bad.
Oh, God.
Thanks.
You want to hear it?
And there's no name. He doesn't say thanks, my name, or anything. Like, he just
was this text? Was this text?
It's via Facebook.
Oh God. Okay.
But it gets better, because now I'm clicking over to the link.
Yeah.
And the capitalization isn't right on the post.
God. Oh God.
And all they have in the caption is, please like, comment, and subscribe. This track is a banger. Oh no, okay. Then there's some other stuff. Okay, so it's not that bad, but still, like, I don't fucking know.
Yep.
You could have commented on one of my things before, like, literally, like, this is how human brains work, right? Literally, if you add me as a friend and comment on 5 things I post over the course of a day, I will, in my head, put you in the friend category and be 80 times more likely to write about you.
but be careful what you say if with your comments. If it's creepy comments, Matt's gonna think you're creepy.
Or think that maybe you might like me as opposed to my mother.
Well, what about if they? Here's a good example. I had a guy who was trying to get in touch with me at one point. I think he was trying to sell me something.
Okay. Was it
He
me?
tries to add me as a friend. I don't know who the guy is. He talked to me in a Facebook group, and I could tell he kind of he randomly was asking me for advice, and I was like, well, I kind of charge for this advice. I'm not gonna really go over this with you because I don't really know you, right? And so a little while later, he adds me as a friend, and I'm like, I didn't accept the ad, and I didn't say anything to him, but he starts going down liking all my old pictures. Like, I'm not joking you, 25 old pictures. Like, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah, that is fucking creepy. Don't be that
And then
guy.
he messages me again and says, "Oh yeah, I'm in this rock band. I'm just curious what you do." And I'm just like, "Okay, well, I got all these blog posts you can look at. I've got, I'm on social media. Just talk to me there. Don't be a fucking creepy ass motherfucker, right?" So, anyways, there are like I'm saying, comment on that shit, but don't be weird about it. Don't just randomly like 2-year-old posts or pictures of him with his sister or his mom or something from 2 years ago and put emoji fucking comments and shit like that.
Yeah, that does not help. What I'm saying is comment on my new shit.
Yeah, and
And
say Tai Lopez at Tai Lopez every time you put something there.
it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get flown out to the Tai Lopez mansion, and we're gonna hang out with all the Tai Lopez Instagram models, and your head is going to explode.
My head will explode if you actually get to the Tai Lopez mansion. That would be the fucking funniest thing in the universe.
And then I would. Oh God, that's a whole separate episode.
You probably,
Anyway,
as a hint, here's Coach Curtis's advice for how to get in touch with Tai Lopez. You want to hear it?
oh boy, sure.
Okay. My advice would be buy a couple of his programs, because if you buy his shit, he's probably more likely to talk to you.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. So buy his $2 million real estate course. Learn how to flip some houses the Tai Lopez way.
There you go. Anyway, now we're actually signing off.
All right, good.
I have to go negotiate a contract.
Yeah, and I have to talk to, apparently somebody was trying to call us, a mutual friend of ours was trying to call me.
They need to be. Okay. Well, that's good. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. This will probably go up on Thursday. And please, a bunch of things to plug real fast. So if you want a marketing tune-up, hit me up. We've got a cool kind of one-off option that's on special offer right now. On top of that, if you need merch fulfillment for your bands, hit me up, matt@dropoutmedia.net. I can get your bands free money, basically, if you just send me designs.
Join Dropout Social.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting, is join Dropout Social. Starting soon, we're going to be doing a piece of marketing advice every day. Starting tomorrow. Today, the day this airs.
Oh, yes, tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, the day this airs. Today, that's right.
So today, you can get an actionable marketing tip every day. Curtis and I put videos in there. It's fucking phenomenal and cool and feedback-tastic. So fucking join that. Hit up Curtis for PR whenever, wherever, no matter what. Because if
as long as you've got an album releasing and you're good, I'm happy to help you. If you're no good, don't bother talking to me.
If he can't do it, one of my boys can.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you. Smoke crack, worship Satan.
I agree.
Thank you for listening.